Your brain has a chemical designed to make you trust people. It's called oxytocin. And the most dangerous people in your life know exactly how to trigger it. They don't attack you. They don't threaten you. They tell you a secret. They cry in front of you. They make you feel chosen. And in that moment, your amygdala, your brain's danger detector, goes silent, chemically silent. You stop seeing red flags. Not because they aren't there, but because your own biology has been hijacked. Here's what makes this terrifying. There's a measured relationship between the intensity of what someone shares with you and how quickly they share it. The heavier the secret and the shorter the time you've known them, the bigger the oxytocin flood, the deeper the amygdala shutdown. This is not a metaphor. This is the documented neurochemistry of manipulation. They are not connecting with you. They are drugging you. The knife never comes from the front. If it did, you'd catch the hand. But it doesn't come from behind either. It comes from inside, from the part of you that wanted to believe. 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli identified 3 behavioral patterns that exploit this glitch with mathematical precision. 3 types of people are structurally incapable of loyalty. You know at least one of them. They're on your phone right now. And by the end of this, you'll know which one. But before I show you the 3 signs, you need to understand why your brain is wired to ignore every single one of them, and why the most common advice about trust makes the problem worse. You've been here before. You trusted someone, fully, and they gutted you. And the worst part wasn't the betrayal itself. The worst part was the replay. That moment 3 in the morning, when you realized every red flag was visible from the beginning, and you chose not to see it. That feeling has a name. Neuroscientists have mapped it. When you experience social betrayal, your insular cortex, the same neural region that processes a broken bone, lights up identically. Your brain does not distinguish between a shattered wrist and a shattered trust. This is not a weakness. This is architecture. You are literally built to experience betrayal as a physical wound. And here's the paradox. The same brain that makes betrayal feel like agony also makes you avoid confronting the evidence that would prevent it. Researchers Bonnet and Zeckhauser demonstrated this. When subjects chose between a bad outcome from a random event and the same bad outcome from a trusted person, they chose the random event every time. Your brain will accept worse odds from the universe rather than face the possibility that someone you love chose to hurt you. You're not naive. You're neurologically incentivized to stay naive. And architecture goes deeper than biology. Layer 1. Normalcy bias. Your brain's editing software. You assume the pattern will hold because it held yesterday. Machiavelli called this the projection of virtue, the fatal error of assuming others share your operating system. Modern psychology calls it normalcy bias, the cognitive default that whispers it hasn't happened, so it won't happen. Layer 2. Betrayal aversion. Even when evidence surfaces, even when the red flags stack up like a bonfire, the insular cortex creates such intense anticipated pain that your brain actively chooses blindness. You will rewrite history, make excuses, blame yourself. Anything to avoid the emotional cost of admitting the person across the table is not who you thought they were. Layer 3. Cultural conditioning. Society has handed you the wolf's instruction manual and called it morality. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Don't judge. Everyone deserves a second chance. These platitudes are not wisdom. They are the operating instructions for your own exploitation. And this isn't just personal. The 2025 Edelman Trust Barometer recorded something that hadn't happened in 26 years, a global decline in workplace trust. 86% of executives believe they trust their employees. Only 60% of employees feel trusted. That's a 26-point perception gap. 45% of HR professionals admit to posting ghost jobs, positions that don't exist, as moral performance at a corporate scale. 53% of workers report being misled by a manager. The system itself breeds the 3 archetypes you're about to learn. So who is the enemy? Not the liar across the table. The enemy is the chemical in your brain that makes you pet the snake. Your own limbic system, hijacked by oxytocin floods, paralyzed by betrayal aversion, sedated by normalcy bias, overriding the one part of your brain that can actually protect you, your prefrontal cortex. Machiavelli wrote that a man who wishes to act virtuously in every way must come to grief among so many who are not virtuous. He didn't say be cruel. He said stop assuming your goodness is a universal operating system. Trust is not a feeling. Trust is a calculation. And you've been letting your limbic system do the math. And the hardest version of this problem? When the snake shares your last name. When the oxytocin bond is reinforced by blood and memory and holiday dinners. The architecture is identical. The stakes are higher. The detection framework doesn't change. Most people, when they realize this, reach for one of three solutions. All three feel logical. All three are traps. And the third one, the one that sounds the smartest, is the one that will isolate you permanently. Just trust your gut. That's the advice you hear from every self-help influencer with a ring light and a book deal. Listen to your intuition. Your body knows. Your body does know. And your body is lying to you. Remember the oxytocin mechanism. The premature confessor triggers a neurochemical cascade that shuts down your threat detector. Your gut feeling after a trauma dump isn't intuition, it's a drug response. You feel bonded because you've been chemically bonded. The feeling is real. The safety is fabricated. Research on subjects with unilateral amygdala damage demonstrates the extreme version. They increase trust after being betrayed. Over and over. Because the fear processor is offline. Your amygdala isn't damaged. It's being temporarily disabled by people who have learned, consciously or instinctively, how to flood your system with synthetic intimacy. Trusting your gut only works when your gut hasn't been hacked. And the first archetype specializes in exactly that hack. Now the opposite extreme. After the betrayal, the pendulum swings. I'll never let anyone in again. This feels like strength. It is strategic suicide. Machiavelli never said to trust no one. He said trust only what has been proven through stress tests. There's a difference between a fortress with no gates and a fortress with guarded gates. The paranoid recluse, the person who cuts everyone, doesn't become safer. They become isolated. And isolation is the most exploitable position in any power landscape. The brain data confirms it. When the insular cortex dominates the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, the subject enters a state where every new person is viewed as a potential traitor. This is not strategic awareness. This is a neurological failure state that prevents the formation of any alliance, including the ones that would actually protect you. And if you've been there, if you cut everyone out, and now you have nobody, hear this. You didn't build a fortress. You built a prison. The walls keep enemies out and keep you trapped inside them. The line between healthy caution and destructive paranoia is simple. Patterns are data. Fear is noise. If your suspicion is based on observed behavioral patterns, it's intelligence. If it's based on generalized dread, it's a cage. Fine, you think. I won't be naive and I won't be paranoid. I'll just observe. Stay neutral. Watch from the sidelines until I have enough data. This sounds rational. It is the most dangerous position of all. In 1980, political scientist Robert Axelrod ran one of the most famous experiments in game theory, the iterated prisoner's dilemma. Hundreds of strategies for cooperation and betrayal, tested over thousands of rounds. The dominant strategy wasn't the most aggressive. It was tit for tat. Cooperate first. Then mirror what the other player does. Simple, transparent, and devastatingly effective. You know which strategy performed the worst? Not the backstabber. The fence-sitter. The player who refused to commit to either cooperation or defection got exploited by every aggressive player and abandoned by every cooperative one. They ended each tournament with the fewest allies and the lowest score. Mathematically, a neutral ally is a worse bet than an open enemy, because the enemy at least declares a position. You can adapt, strategize, defend. The neutral gives you nothing to work with. They are a variable you can never solve. Machiavelli advised that a prince must always be a true friend or a true enemy. Dante reserved the hottest places in hell for those who preserved their neutrality during a moral crisis. The fence-sitter possesses only self-preservation. Even the violent man possesses conviction. All three solutions fail because they address the symptom, other people's behavior, while ignoring the disease, your own neurobiological vulnerabilities and strategic illiteracy. Gut trusting gets hijacked. Total isolation gets exploited. Neutrality gets mathematically demolished. The common thread? None of them give you a diagnostic framework, a system of observable, testable behavioral markers that bypass your compromised emotional circuits and operate on evidence alone. Machiavelli didn't write poetry about trust, he wrote stress tests for it. So what does work? Machiavelli identified 3 specific behavioral fingerprints, not feelings, not vibes, not gut hunches, observable, repeatable patterns that signal with near mathematical certainty that a person is structurally incapable of loyalty. The first one is the most deceptive, because it disguises itself as the thing you want most. The first fingerprint, the person who tells you everything, too fast. They meet you, and within hours you know about the abusive ex, the estranged parent, the financial ruin. It feels like trust. It feels like being chosen. It is neither. They are not connecting with you. They are drugging you. Your brain floods with oxytocin, your amygdala goes quiet, and you hand over your own secrets in return. Because reciprocity is a hardwired reflex, not a conscious choice. They gave you ammunition. Now you've given them yours. Machiavelli understood this with surgical clarity. A person with no boundaries has no loyalty. If they betray their own privacy to a stranger, they will betray yours to the next stranger with a sympathetic ear. The intimacy is not real. It is a transaction. They're secrets for your secrets. And the next time they need leverage, they have yours. The stress test is simple. Say no to a demand for your time or emotional labor. A healthy person respects the boundary. The premature confessor detonates. Panic, guilt tripping. I thought we were close. Aggressive withdrawal. The boundary reveals the transaction. If the vulnerability was genuine, the boundary won't threaten it. If it was a weapon, the boundary disarms it, and the wielder will panic. Can they change? Watch what happens when you say no. That response is diagnostic. The second fingerprint. The person who never picks a side. I see both sides. I don't want to get involved. Let's not make this a thing. These are not statements of wisdom. They are exit strategies. The neutral party values their access to every person in the room more than they value their principles. They are fans, not friends. And fans are the first to congratulate a winner and the first to disappear during a loss. The prisoner's dilemma already demolished this position mathematically. The fence-sitter gets exploited by the aggressive and abandoned by the cooperative. Now apply it as a behavioral fingerprint. The neutral friend is not keeping the peace. They are keeping their options open. Machiavelli wrote it plainly. Silence is a choice. And by refusing to condemn disrespect, you validate it. The stress test. Create a situation where they must take a public stance on something true but unpopular. A healthy person offers principled support. The pathological neutral deflects, plays devil's advocate. Check the room's temperature before speaking. If they can't defend you in a small controversy, they will evaporate during a crisis. The third fingerprint. The person who never stops telling you how good they are. Machiavelli wrote that it is not necessary for a prince to possess all virtues, but it is absolutely essential that he appear to have them. The moral performer has internalized this completely. They are the loudest voice for justice, the first to signal outrage, the self-appointed empath of every group. Their goodness is a press release for a product that doesn't exist. In evolutionary biology, an honest signal is one that's too costly to fake. A peacock's tail. Moral grandstanding is a low-cost, high-reward dishonest signal. It costs nothing to post. It costs nothing to declare. Years of quiet sacrifice? That's an honest signal. A social media crusade? That's a billboard. If you want proof, look at Sam Bankman-Fried. He built his entire empire on the performance of virtue, effective altruism. Saving the world. Sleeping on beanbags. Wearing cargo shorts to congressional hearings. He was so good at performing goodness that regulators, investors, and entire governments trusted him with billions. And he stole it, all of it. The moral mask was so convincing that nobody checked his hands. And his hands were emptying the vault. Machiavelli said, men judge more by the eyes than by the hands. Everyone saw the appearances. Nobody felt the theft. Goodness is quiet. Integrity is silent. The wolf does not knock on the door and announce itself. The wolf puts on the skin of the sheep. The stress test. Stop reacting to their virtue signaling. Cut the fuel line. A person of genuine character behaves consistently regardless of the audience. The moral performer escalates. More dramatic gestures, louder declarations, followed by devaluation. You've become so distant. You've changed. The withdrawal of praise reveals whether the virtue was real or whether you were just the audience. These three archetypes map directly to your professional life too. The premature confessor is the coworker who trauma dumps on day one to manufacture a false alliance. The pathological neutral is the manager who sees both sides when you report misconduct. The moral performer is the HR initiative that performs inclusion, while 45% of the job postings are ghost jobs. You now have the 3 fingerprints and the 3 stress tests. But there's one more person you need to examine, and this is the part most people skip because it's the most uncomfortable 5 minutes of the conversation. Before you start running these tests on everyone in your life, turn the lens inward. Are you the premature confessor, using your pain as a leash to cage the people who care about you? Sharing everything too fast, not because you trust them, but because you need them to feel obligated to stay? Are you the pathological neutral, too afraid to stand beside your friends because standing means you might fall? Keeping every relationship at arm's length so you never have to risk anything real? Are you the moral performer, so busy advertising your goodness that you forgot to actually be good, confusing the announcement of virtue with the practice of it? Machiavelli wrote, "It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver." Don't deceive yourself. Clean your own house first, then seal the gates. That recognition, the sting you might be feeling right now, is not shameful. It's proof of self-awareness, and self-awareness is the first requirement for strategic competence. So how do you rebuild after you've cleared the weeds? Step 1. Cooperate first. Enter new relationships with measured openness, not walls. Offer trust in small, controlled increments, not the full vault, a deposit. See what they do with it. Step 2. Mirror behavior. If they reciprocate cooperation, increase trust incrementally. If they defect, a boundary violation, neutrality under pressure, moral performance without follow-through, mirror the defection. Don't explain. Don't negotiate. Match their behavior with yours. Step 3. Forgive once. Axelrod's data showed that tit-for-tat with occasional forgiveness outperformed pure retaliation because it prevented the death spiral of mutual defection. 1. Forgiveness. 1. If the defection repeats, the pattern is confirmed and the stress test is complete. Step 4. Observe under pressure. Peacetime loyalty means nothing. Test the fortress before the siege, not during it. The no test, the public defense test, the withdrawal of praise test. Run them before you need the person, not when you're already desperate. The table gets smaller. That's the point. A table of 2 real ones outperforms a banquet of performers. Loneliness is temporary. A compromised inner circle is permanent damage. Here is what no one in this space will tell you. The goal of this knowledge is not to make you suspicious of everyone. It's to make you precise about the few. Machiavelli did not write The Prince to create paranoid recluses. He wrote it to create strategists who could distinguish between the fox and the wolf and act accordingly. In 2025, trust is collapsing at every level, in employers, in institutions, in the people sitting across your dinner table. The first global decline in professional trust in 26 years. Ghost jobs, surveillance culture, productivity paranoia. The 3 archetypes aren't anomalies. They're the default setting of a system optimized for appearance over substance. Your advantage, the only one that matters, is the ability to see the world as it is, instead of as you wish it were. Be the fox who recognizes the traps. Be the lion who frightens the wolves. But above all, be the person who earns a seat at the small table by being the ally you demand from others. Your brain will try to make you trust the wrong people. Now you know the chemistry, the math, and the history. Trust the evidence. The evidence doesn't flood your system with oxytocin.